It's time for the Tuesday Tailgate. And to help us out with that, we bring in, as always, Carter Freemon, who also got a vote in the great Christmas movie bracket, which will be coming at you on Thursday.
I thought you were going to say I got a Heisman vote.
Oh, that would be neat. Okay, fine. You get a Heisman vote. Who would you have voted for?
I would have voted for Ashton Jeanty.
Okay.
And I don't think I was the only person that felt that, because when we saw the results of the Heisman race on Saturday, it was a lot closer than I think a lot of people expected.
Now, to your point, it was the closest margin of victory since 2009. However, cut number 12, I'm sure you know by now, this is how it played out.
It is my honor to announce that the 2024 Heisman Award goes to Travis Hunter.
So, look, you can pick out stats to make a lot of things kind of go your way. But this one I saw, and Ashton Jeanty said he should have walked away with the award, which that's fine. I appreciate your confidence in your own abilities. But you look back at Derrick Henry, 2,200 yards, Heisman. Ricky Williams, 2,100, Heisman. Ron Dane, 1,800. Reggie Bush, 1,700. Mark Ingram, a little bit less than 1,700. Heisman. Ashton Jeanty, almost 2,500, second place.
It's not often that you have two historic seasons like this year.
Yes.
And to a lot of, big college football writers have been writing, like, I think in 15 of the last 20 years, Ashton Jeanty beats the field. Like, he's just that much better. But yeah, I mean, not only is Travis Hunter an amazing player, a totally deserving Heisman winner. I don't want to say he's not. He doing what he did on both sides of the ball is incredible. I think having him be in so many primetime games with Coach Prime as his coach,
okay,
I think that helps too. He's so marketable. He's so front facing. He's on the cover of the NCAA college football game that just came back this year. Like, I think a lot of people voted for him deservingly, but like his just marketability and him being everywhere, I think benefited him more than a guy who plays for Boise State.
And that's why I wanted to throw out, I saw some people were like, oh, Travis Hunter was an average receiver. I was like, okay, well,
he led the Big 12 in several categories.
And didn't he win the Biletnikoff for best receiver? Or if not, was he a finalist?
He was a finalist for it. I don't remember if he won, but he was absolutely a deserving finalist.
So yeah, he was an excellent receiver. If you think Ashton Jeanty is better, totally fine. I totally understand that. But I hate that instead of pushing Ashton Jeanty like you just were, people seem to be tearing down Travis Hunter instead. I can be like, well, you could just say that Ashton Jeanty you thought was better and had a better season and had better qualifications. But, I mean, Hunter still had an amazing year.
He did, and he did win the Biletnikoff. Travis Hunter did win the Biletnikoff.
See, there you go.
I do want to get that correct. But, yeah, it's like I said, you don't often have two absolutely historic, amazing seasons, and someone's got to come in second place. By the way, do you remember Mark Ingram won in 2009?
Oh.
Do you remember who he beat?
Yes, I do.
You have any idea, Mike?
Toby Gerhart.
By 28 points. Stanford running back. I don't think Stanford has ever had a Heisman winner. They have the most Heisman runner-ups in college football history, because Toby Gerhart, Andrew Luck, Bryce Love, I believe they're running back from a couple years ago. Like they're always in second place.
John Elway.
Yeah, they never win.
I have no clue if he was second in it, but I just named
he didn't win it.
For a guy who was good at football.
So, to go along with this, other stories that I thought were of interest, and we'll get to the college football playoff in just a second. Alan Bowman, who has been in college football for 7 years, has decided he's going to declare for the NFL draft. Carter, are you sad to see the journey of Alan Bowman come to an end at the college level, and what kind of looks will he get?
CFL,
yeah,
UFL, not NFL. Could he have come back for an 8th year? Because that was my question. It's real funny with the COVID year and redshirting and all of that, but yeah, he's a 3-time transfer. He's played for 3 different schools, and I didn't even think he was able to come back for an 8th year. I didn't think it was a decision. Now, it's the same thing with Cam Rising at Utah, where I believe because he was out most of this year, he could come back for one, I believe, final year next year, and that would be his 8th year. But yeah, I watching him play, and credit to him, Oklahoma State last year, Big 12 runners up, like they had a very good year. This year, not so much, but like those are the kind of guys that should stay in college for a long time, because their football career is probably going to be over once they're out.
What did you think about Mike Norville giving back essentially $4.5 million? So, Mike, we've talked about how terrible Florida State was this year. So their head coach agreed to a 1-year restructured contract in which he is delightfully, from the bottom of his heart, going to give $4.5 million to a new university initiative aimed at raising money for revenue sharing in facilities. Now, the reason why I say it like that is because
like all the facilities at Florida State.
Yes.
So the natatorium.
I guess so.
The softball field.
Well, if revenue sharing is included, I think so. But do you think that Florida State was like, here's the deal? We would like this amount of money back.
Yeah, 100%. And Florida State did this with their last head coach, Willie Taggart. They did this after his first year when they went like 3-9, and were like, yeah, we'll need you to take a little bit of a pay cut and help build a new football facility. He was like, sure. Then they fired him in the middle of his next season, and he never got to, see his players actually use that facility. But yeah, what a historic fall from undefeated in the regular season, ACC champs, missed out on the CFP to, and he was rumored to be in the running for Alabama to be their next head coach whenever Saban retired this last offseason. So from all of that to, we need $4.5 million back,
I guess
fork it up.
Not that I'm a Florida State fan or a Florida State hater. I guess the great thing is in today's world of college football, you can get 20 new starters.
Sure.
And they don't have to be 18-year-olds.
And Florida State's actually the poster child for that, because the 2023 team that went, had an amazing season, a lot of transfers, a lot of them had been there, multiple years and had time to learn Mike Norville's system, play together, eventually have a very, very good year. They kind of tried to do the same thing this year where they brought in, 20 or so transfers, a lot of new starters. It didn't work. And in fact, it was just dreadful. So there you can see the peaks and the valleys of that kind of system.
Okay, one of the valleys right now then is Marshall. So as Marshall had to drop out of its bowl game because they're like, we got nothing. And
because too many kids at the portal?
Yes. So Marshall has 36 kids in the transfer portal, including 29 scholarship players, 17 players that were on the team's two-deep setup, and all 3 of the quarterbacks they've used this year are in the transfer portal.
And the situation with Marshall is a weird one. Going into the season, their head coach, Charles Huff, wanted a contract extension. He was in a lame duck year. The contract that Marshall offered him it just wasn't something he was going to accept. So they both said, all right, we'll just let the year play out. Charles Huff bet on himself. Marshall goes and wins the Sun Belt. So they have a great year, but they still don't see eye to eye on the contract. Less than 24 hours after he wins the Sun Belt with Marshall, he leaves for Southern Miss. So not only is it just transfer portal season, kids are going to leave anyway, the head coach they played for is gone. But I think Marshall should get some sort of punishment for this. I don't think you should accept a bid and then drop out, because the timeline of this whole thing, Marshall knew their head coach was leaving, and they knew there was going to be a mass exodus of players, and they accepted the bowl bid anyway. And from what I read, they assured the Independence Bowl that they're going to be able to play in it. There's not going to be an issue. And then, whoopsie-doo, they drop out. So Louisiana Tech stepped in. It's in Shreveport, so that's not a bad drive from Ruston to get there. That's good that Army is the team they would have played. They'll still be able to play in that game, have a chance to win their 12th game. But yeah, I think Marshall should face some sort of punishment for this.
By the way, some people are saying, excuse me, sir, Jim Plunkett in 1970 won the Heisman while playing at Stanford.
There we go. The old plunker.
This guy. The old plunker, yeah.
They'll let anyone on the radio.
Jake Plummer.
No.
It was Arizona State.
Jim Plunkett, I do believe, also
played
has
in the Rose Bowl his senior year.
That is true. He has
lost
2 Super Bowl titles and is not in the NFL Hall of Fame. So
they're saying Eli Manning has a chance.
I mean, take that for whatever it's worth. Want to throw this out there real quick. Cut number 13. Army versus Navy. Do you think most people are of the opinion it's a cool scene, it's a cool tradition, but maybe the football being played is not for y'all?
Army thinking about a blitz off the corner. And Horvath lobs one wide open touchdown.
In your face.
Brandon Chapman.
That was one of 9 passes and 4 completions Blake Horvath, the Navy quarterback, had on the day. Now, my brother-in-law was in the Navy. Obviously, this is a humongous game at the Drummond compound. They win 31-13. That is what I.
The compound.
Okay, because
what are they doing there?
Well, no, the reason is
watching Army Navy.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law live there, and then like literally their neighbors are my mother and father-in-law. So I just call it the Drummond compound.
The Drummond takeover.
All right. But you've been to this game before, Mike.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the way you described it's incredibly cool. Then maybe the football is not for all modern football fans.
The thing is the pregame stuff is really cool to see. And, Army marching in, Navy marching in. I know, it changes from Philadelphia to Baltimore, but the game starts and I have no interest. I'm not rooting for Army or against them. I'm not rooting for Navy or against them.
Would it have made any difference if somehow both of these teams would have been undefeated?
They are good now.
They are.
They were not that good 10 years ago.
True.
It helps out a little bit, but I'm not that big of a college football fan. That being said, there's a good chance Saturday, I don't know, I physically can't do this, but there's a good chance that I am at the television from 12 p.m. noon till 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Because of SMU Penn State, and then Clemson, Texas, and then Tennessee, Ohio State. Probably the Tennessee, Ohio State game. I will probably give up on football by then because I will be footballed out.
Okay.
But I'm really excited about Friday night and Saturday. I just physically can't do it. I struggle to sit and watch football for that long of a time. But I'm really excited about the college football thing. But Army, Navy, it doesn't do it for me. I hope I'm in the minority, but it just doesn't do it for me. I have to watch something that entertains me, and watching 73 handoffs doesn't do it.
Speaking of, and by the way, if you think he's exaggerating, I just looked. I think it was 102 plays in that game and 25 passes. So it's kind of around in that area. Now, the most entertaining bowl, they've really gone out of their way to try to make themselves an entertainment-based bowl game, is
the PopTarts Bowl.
The PopTarts Bowl. How do we feel, gentlemen, that the PopTarts Bowl trophy will also be a workable toaster? So essentially in the football that's in top that kind of looks, a little like Lombardi trophy-esque, has 2 toast slots in it so you can also toast with your trophy.
I think it's amazing. I think to the points we were making earlier that these lower bowl games, there's not a lot of interest in it. So they've done a lot of these bowl games have done a good job of finding things to make them sillier, goofier, and also to get interest in it. But just on the flip side, I read that Cam Ward, who's going to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl with Miami, he's going to play in that game. And so Travis Hunter, we're talking about earlier, he's going to play in the Alamo Bowl with Colorado. So just because they're not in the playoff, a lot of these guys aren't going to end up opting out. I think there's a lot more interest in these games, and that's hopefully, this is just hopeful thinking, but some of these better players that would just opt out, go to their draft process, they'll end up playing in these games, where you can also watch them eat a live Pop-Tart once the game's over.
Right now, who would you take number 1 if you're taking a quarterback, Sanders or Ward?
Sanders. And I think the Raiders will have the number 1 pick, and I think that just seems to line up that he wants to go there, and they're bad enough that they'll have the pick, and that'll just work out.
You think he's better?
I do. I like Cam Ward a lot. I got to see him a couple times.
But cousin might be listening right now.
Yes, Cam Ward's cousin brought us cupcakes.
Oh, wow.
At Buffalo Wild Wings on Friday. True story.
Okay. Then Cam Ward, number 1.
No, I'm just kidding. I think that they're both good quarterbacks. I lean towards Cam Ward, but I don't think one is established right now over the other. But to your point, maybe the flash of being a Raider maybe is the thing that pushes Sanders over the top.
I know Jay Glazer said he talked to a whole bunch of NFL head coaches and GMs, and the, I guess, maybe presumptive number 3 pick, Travis Hunter, it seemed like the majority of them went cornerback as opposed to wide receiver. Is that how you view his likelihood? Or do you think, I'm sure he's going to try both at some time.
I was going to say, I want to see him play both. He's good at it now. I give him a chance and just see which one he's better at, and then maybe, put him down that way. But he did just win the Biletnikoff Best Receiver Award, and I just feel in the long run, he himself would get more value out of being a receiver than a defensive back. But gosh, I would say receiver is where I would put him, but I would have to put him maybe on third downs every other drive or something like that. Like, get him in there at defensive back. Like, have him play not 100+ snaps like he's playing now, but like still while he's young, let him play as much as he possibly can.
And I promise, Mike, we'll dive more into the college football playoff on Thursday because I really want to pick everybody's brain about that because...
and tonight, don't forget, you can go to Frisco and watch West Virginia play Memphis.
The Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl.
In Frisco.
I went to that game last year.
Starts
UTSA
at 8 p.m.,
won.
so it should be over by midnight.
There you go.